Tonight, some Bay Area parents are outraged. They believe the man who runs Plato Academy in Largo is lying to them about a serious mold issue in several middle school classrooms. Tonight, they let him have it during a verbal throwdown in the school cafeteria. 8 on Your Side first reported about mold concerns at the charter school, and many parents believe the CEO is behind a large-scale cover-up. Peter Bernard is live at the school in Largo for us right now. And Peter, you watched as parents. I mean, they really skewered this guy.
Jen, heated. It was really incredible. Throw out any semblance of any civility today or tonight. Tonight's meeting ended up being a knockdown, drag-out, throwdown, as you said, of the CEO here, Chris Christopoulos. The only thing missing, pitchforks and torches.
So where we have mold in there, we're now spreading it by bringing all those mold spores into this room.
Mad about mold. Dozens of parents crowded into the Plato Academy cafeteria to grill the CEO of the parent company about what may be making children sick. They're pointing the finger at Steve Christopoulos.
It's not about you. It's not about the school. It's about the kids. Yeah, of course. Right, it's about the kids.
Before the meeting, several parents showed me the middle school classrooms that are ground zero. They pointed out what they believe is mold near a vent, wet floors where tiles are coming up, and places where they claim quick cleanup and paint is hiding the lurking menace.
I think he's in denial and he's hiding behind the word it's not mold, so he doesn't have to actually come out and do anything and do it all in secret.
Several parents are not taking any chances. You're so concerned you're keeping her out.
I'm keeping her out.
And here's why.
When I come to school, all I do is cough, and it's in my first period class, I'm coughing and yakking.
Tempers flared as Christopoulos tried to make his case that 5 tests show there is no mold in the charter school classrooms.
And there is no mold, but that's not enough. We say no, we want more.
Later, the CEO offered a pledge.
I'll actually donate the funds for you to go out and get your own reports of the company of your choosing.
Independent.
And I will pay for it personally.
All right, you heard it. Christopoulos insists there is no mold, no quick paint jobs, only cleaning, and no cover-up of any problems in the area. The Pinellas head of charter schools wants to have a certified mold inspection out here, and he wants it as soon as possible. After all, kids' health is in jeopardy, perhaps. Jen?
Well, Peter, this sounds like an old-fashioned impasse here. The CEO says there is no mold. Parents don't believe him, so what happens now?
Next thing that's going to happen is it's going to be an emergency meeting Monday night at 6 o'clock right here at the school. A lot of parents have already said they are going to be out here and they are going to attend. And there is going to be also that inspection for the free inspection by the CEO. That still stands.
Interesting. Peter Bernard, live in Pinellas County for us tonight. Thank you, Peter.
Access behind these doors has been restricted due to concerns of mold growth and HVAC unit issues here in the Fine Arts Center at Del Mar College Heritage Campus. I'm Alexis Scott, your neighborhood news reporter, and I spoke with campus faculty about how the problem is being fixed.
Well, I've been sitting here apparently in mold that it felt like everybody knew about it except me.
A gap in communication is what Rachel Genesee says she's experienced in her office at Del Mar College.
I didn't know that I had a leak in my radio studio, so I get up to go check it out, and there's just water pouring from the ceiling, and then we have these soundproofing tiles, and they were actually falling from the wall.
Genesee tells Chris 6 News she first noticed mold and HVAC leaks in a room near her office in January. She says she complained to a building manager who took pictures and videos of what she saw. About 3 months later, Genesee says she noticed do not enter signs on the doors.
And this summer, IT actually was going to come install some computers for me. The IT person texts me and he's like, hey, I'm finished with everything except this area, which is the area right outside of my office. And he says it's full of mold. Why do you know that and I don't know that?
That, Genesee says, was in July. We talked with Genesee on Wednesday. We were able to confirm those doors to the nearby audio and production classroom remain blocked with a warning. She's still wondering what's going on.
But there seems to be some sort of lack of communication, that they're even working on anything, and there seems to be a lack of, preventing mold growth.
Chris 6 News obtained photos suggesting other problems in other areas of the school. This video shows warning signs outside the Bartlett Theater. A school spokesperson says water leaks caused the floor to fall apart and mold to grow. 1 year later, as you can see, the area is still closed, and I spoke with the school's vice president of facilities.
I don't remember a specific date about a specific issue. We have a lot of issues here. Some of the complaints are made, and they just have to go through the system. So while it may have been identified several months ago, we get them addressed as soon as we can.
Strybos added a third-party consultant conducted a tape test and confirmed mold was on campus. Del Mar College reiterates it was not identified as black mold.
And so they put up a barrier, a protective barrier, so that they can do the work and the mold doesn't get out of the space. And so they're cleaning the mold now.
According to the student newspaper, Foghorn News, an environmental health and safety professional confirmed the mold is consistent with a fungus that causes fungal eye infections and possible respiratory issues in humans.
This particular issue is going to be less than $50,000 when we add all the costs together. Yes, there's going to be mold, there's going to be HVAC issues, but we have a plan in place to start addressing those issues.
Strybos says the college has dedicated more than $2 million to help correct the issues. As of now, Genesee says she's been notified of all updates related to her office and the classrooms impacted by the mold and HVAC leaks. So far, there's no word on when contractors will be done fixing the mold growth and HVAC unit issues. At Del Mar College Heritage Campus, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Alexis Scott, Chris 6 News.
Good evening, everyone. The mom of a local college student says he's been living in a mold-filled campus apartment, and now it's made him sick.
And her son is a freshman at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. She says he has a doctor's appointment tomorrow to find out the cause of his sickness. Our Seth Kovar is joining us in the studio. And Seth, we've heard from the mother, but how is the school responding?
Well, a private company owns and operates Momentum Village, where the young man lives, but it's on TAMU-CC property and only students live there. That's why I spoke to the school's vice president of student engagement and success today. Now, I also talked to the upset mother through FaceTime from San Antonio, a mom who just sent her son off to live on his own for the first time.
I don't know what else to do but show everybody what's going on in my life right now.
That was Adrienne Salinas on Friday, the day after her son Jeremy reported what he and his mom think is mold in his room, on walls, on vents, on clothes, everywhere.
He went into his closet and there was a pillow, white pillow, and I mean, you could just see the contrast with the black mold sitting on it.
The company that owns and operates Momentum Village for A&M Corpus Christi immediately moved Jeremy and his roommate to a different apartment. American Campus Communities also did air quality testing. Campus leaders say those results haven't come back yet.
There's no indication it's mold. There's some indication it's mildew, and that's what the testing will prove.
Salinas says she doesn't need tests. She's convinced it's mold, and she thinks it's made Jeremy sick.
Jeremy is going to get fully checked out because of all the respiratory issues he's had since he's been there. He's literally been sick since the first week of school.
Salinas thinks bad lighting made the substance hard to see, and that could explain why Jeremy only now reported it. Campus leaders urge students to report anything out of the ordinary as soon as possible.
Certainly concerned that it might have been there a while before it was reported, because immediately as soon as it was reported, it was handled.
But Salinas wants the complex to be more proactive, with more than 1,000 young men and women living there.
They have a responsibility to take care of these students who live there. A lot of times, first time away from home.
Air quality test results should be back tomorrow or the next day. Now, Salinas went a step further. She paid to have the substance swabbed and tested for mold. Those results should be back next week. But when you add the cost of that test to the cost of replacing bedding, clothes, and other things of Jeremy she's thrown away, Salinas estimates she spent more than $2,000. Paul?
All right, Seth Kovar reporting in studio. And Momentum Village is a relatively new apartment complex. Phase 1 opened in fall of 2015 and Phase 2 opened in fall of 2017.
On-campus housing is not adequately maintained, even at the request of students and angry parents. Actually, 75% of Ivy League schools have mold on campus. There's also nearly 300 cases of mold in schools nationwide that we know about. Colleges in 42 of 50 states have mold. I'm not talking about small, subtle cases here. There are literally Instagram pages dedicated to finding mold across universities. In fact, there's a guy, you're going to hear from in a minute, who compiled a list of schools with serious cases of mold that your children are being forced to live with. In fact, there's roughly 270 schools that we're scrolling right now on this list. And most of these schools won't even take a phone call from the parent because the administrator's considering the kid living on campus to be the only worthy point of contact because they're an adult. So much talking about all the student loan process and how expensive colleges are. Kids and parents are mortgaging their future for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and these colleges are forcing kids to live in third world conditions. The University of North Carolina, Wilmington was just how we found out about this. If you've got kids in these colleges, start making some calls. Michael Rubino, mold remediation expert who had tracked down these hundreds of things. You've been doing this for years, and how am I just finding out about this?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, mold in universities is a massive problem, as you've seen in the graphics that you've shared. 265 schools in the last 5 years dealing with mold on campus. As an indoor air quality expert myself and someone who's advocating for clean air, I can't believe we have to advocate for clean air as it's not rocket science.
That we're paying for.
But that we're paying for, right, by the way? I mean, that's where we are. And so when we look at it from this perspective, clean air, clean water, and clean food is what we need, especially with this perspective of the neurotoxin effect that actually can occur from having mold exposure inside of a dorm or facility. Kind of interesting considering we're putting kids in these positions and we don't want them to have neurotoxins because they're there to learn. How can somebody learn if they're literally being exposed to something that causes neurodegenerative diseases, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
No, not at all. I mean, to be fair, then look, frat houses, guys pee on the wall and spill the keg and drink beer. And it happens, but the problem is there's no oversight. And this is in Ohio, actually, I want to get to this. In Ohio, they've actually had to evacuate 500 students due to mold that they found in one dorm room building. And they only got there because enough people complained.
I'm actually meeting with the Ohio State University student government body because this is a really big problem. And, unfortunately, I feel like most students, they don't really feel like they have a voice. They don't really feel like they're heard when they bring this thing up. I've actually talked to parents of these kids. And, they're not, they feel like they don't have a voice. They feel like they're not being heard. And, for me, from my perspective, I understand, some of this stuff in microbiology, it's not taught in common settings, but we all know that mold is not a good thing to be breathing in constantly. Yeah. And yet when people are reporting mold, these universities are sweeping it under the rug. Look at their statement. Oh, don't worry. We cleaned it up. Yet somebody else goes in there and says, it still smells like mold. So obviously it's not cleaned up. Right. Why aren't they taking experts like myself and bringing people in to test the environment and remediate the environment? Money. That's what they need to be doing.
They don't want to spend the money. They'll take all the money all day. Before I let you go, do you have a website where people can go and look and see if their kid's college is on this list?
Yeah, if you want to blow your mind, go to moldu.org. And you'll see all of the research we've done over the past few years. And it's going to blow your mind because you're paying a lot of money and these schools are not reciprocating.
Moldu.org. That is, you know what? You may have just saved some lives right there, Michael. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.